Would it be
Sorry,
easier if I explained it?
it might be. Yeah, I am a
Okay.
fluffy speech man.
Artemis is, of course, a security guard at Pap's mansion.
Okay.
Um, while working at Pap's mansion, they were approached by their sire one night who was trying to get an artifact back from the mansion. They talked him out of it in exchange for using the mansion as a secret meeting spot away from the prince. Throughout that course of time, they got to know Artemis and eventually embraced them, using them as a, hey, you have it in here. We like the fact that you have it in here. Let's keep that. I think the whole rebellion situation, that was kind of a true situation. The whole, somebody who shouldn't have done the thing they did it. And it put everybody else into an uproar. People were choosing sides. People were, oh yeah, they're right for that. People were, oh yeah, they're wrong for that. You're saying that you fought against the rebellion. Sarotha would have fought against the rebellion. Meanwhile, Artemis' sire, wouldn't have been part of the rebellion. They wouldn't have stirred the rebellion. They had their own shit they were planning that got them murked.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now Artemis is stuck in this position of having to work at the mansion. That's what they know, so that's what they're sticking with. But then I think during the rebellion, when people were cleaning up behind it, that's when you guys all would have run into each other and kind of formed this bond. You all still do your own things, I'm sure, but becoming a coterie through that, and like you were saying, trauma bonding, makes sense to me.
Well, like in the aftermath of it, not
In the
necessarily
aftermath of
during the
everything,
course of it.
exactly. So, you know she works there. You guys probably pop by as a way to get off the grid, quote unquote, and not have people watching you as to whatever you might be planning. So that would be her kind of the fixer part of it, or the I know all these different people. This is how I know all these different people. I know these humans because they come through here. You know, I learn all the secrets that people are whispering about, the meetings that were happening. I learned those secrets, and I can use them. That's kind of her position.
Gotcha.
So that
okay.
Makes sense.
Speaking of your position, Artemis, would you be so kind as to go ahead and give me a wits plus awareness roll for me, please?
I'll use willpower.
So, let's dive in both feet, hanging on for dear life, because that's exactly what is required at this point. Your life until this moment has been solely the purview of others. There's no mistaking it. We can sugarcoat it all day long, all night long, and until the next century. Artemis' existence has been at the disposal and agency of others. The only thing that she's done for herself thus far has been to continue persisting, which is no small feat in Milwaukee. It is no small feat, even with the leaps and bounds and exponential growth of the environment, of the climate. It is still a military state. And every night, which is one long night for her, since her sire took her, because that's what it was. When you've had time and you've had evenings and you've had hours on end to really think about what has gotten you here, your sire took you. Your sire did the one thing you didn't think was ever possible: separated you from your twin. It's funny living in the shadow of another person and realizing that person is yourself, not your twin, not your brother's fault. because you both are equally gifted physically. You both had scholarships that you wasted. You both had the opportunity of being different people, but were constantly beholden to everyone else's idea of who you were up until your sire took you. Your sire stole your future, your opportunity for change. And then making matters worse, adding the most injurious of insults to the already gaping wound of them ending your life for their purpose. They had the unmitigated gall to fucking die. They had the promise of forever. They had a score of baker dozens of years up until that moment, and they were promised, just like they promised you, to see the nuclear death of this planet, this universe, this reality. You have the promise of forever. And they proved that that was a lie. Your life wasn't what anyone expected up until your death. Your death is the antithesis of what you expected. Everyone, without meaning to, whether they believe in religion or they just have some semblance of what happens next, expects that there is something, even if that something is just a grand nothingness, a blank, dark nothingness. No taxes, no bills, no pain, no stress. And that is the opposite of where you are. Your death has caused you to continue having to pay fucking taxes. Your death has prompted you to still have to be a wage slave. Your death still requires you to put your existence on the line for other motherfuckers that don't deserve your effort. It's hard not being infuriated with that being the way that things have shaken out. It's hard not being a raging ball of unrefined fury with the way that things have shaken out. And it makes things worse because after all of the shakeups, the upheavals, the give and go of societal pressures, the one thing that you have been able to count on, the one overarching fact that you have been able to count on, shit will continually get worse. The Primitive Council that has met there at the mansion, the growing number of statist kindred who are supposed to be speaking for those who have no voice, who are supposed to be helping Prince Decker relinquish some of his grip on the city, who are supposed to help bring Prince Decker into 2024, have been seizing up power for themselves. The Anubi are still a fucking threat. The Anubi, instead of being the enforcers of Prince Decker's will, are now the secret police, making sure that nobody has a leg up. The Primitive, for all of their bandying and talking and colluding to change the city for the better, have been snatching at the crumbs. They have been fighting amongst themselves. They have been weaponizing the Anubi more than previous. The judges, which had fewer tribunals, have been working nearly every fucking night. Partially through that Calabalarshi fellow who came in and was with sweeping reforms of the Tremere Chantry. Partially because of many people getting fat and lazy and not having to hunt their own because of the fucking brew. And yet, for every instance of the night getting easier to tolerate, things have gotten considerably worse. So as you're standing there idly wasting your forever, idly giving away your immortality because you still have a job to do. You still got to get paid because you still have to pay taxes. As you're there in the foyer of the Pabst mansion, watching the grass grow by night, and the figures there at the sidewalk, this strangely interesting, almost Nosferatu woman in a frock and a gown and a shifting visage, and that goddamn Calabalarshi as they go at it, and the sky around them cracks open and lightning strikes and the ground seems to rumble. Part of you is like, well, maybe I should go out there and help her, but and the big factor is with them being there at the sidewalk, they're not actually on the property. And while you don't get paid that much, you don't get paid to die for the city at large. You get paid to protect the Pabst mansion. So as they rage and fight there in the street, as they do things that would demand a multi-million-dollar Hollywood budget, there in the street, what's your first inclination?
Huh. That's gonna be a lot of property damage.
So as the sky rages in time to their actions, as the night grows brighter and flashes darker and danger, you watch. You warily view. You witness just how dangerous Calabalarshi is. Just how magnificently deadly that woman is. The forces they bring to bear, which are unbelievable. You didn't ever think that you, as Kindred, could allow that much voltage to fly through your body. Yet there they are, wielding powers infernal, wielding the weapons of Zeus from mythology, the growing flame. And if that could not be more unbelievable, that could not be the summation of the impossible there in the street, the world shatters around them as if someone threw a rock through a window. And you see a skyline that's not yours there behind them. You see the woman diving through and running away, and Calabalarshi, very much like the dread specter of death himself, trailing behind her. And then the night air in front of the mansion crackles. The residual energy of the impossibility of what you just witnessed. Because there's no one around, no one who would ever believe you. The worldly shimmer pulses once, like the mushroom cloud of Hiroshima or Nagasaki, rising skyward. And then all of the uproar, all of the raised wind, all of the turmoil in the environment ceases to be with a blink. All of it winks out of existence, leaving India and Lyta scarred and singed, finding their footing amidst the swirling motes of fading light, where moments ago there was a crack in reality, where moments ago there was a battle of gods happening there at the end of the property line. Now there are two unknown entities finding their footing. A low whistle of residual energy hushes over the scene. The wan moonlight gleaming in the distance, casting just enough light so that you can see clearly whom they might be. But there in front of the regal facade of the Pabst mansion is an impossibility made flesh. and they are just beyond the property line, at the edge of what quantifies as your responsibility, are two entities you have no idea who they might be. And unfortunately, here's the problem for you. Fuck what's going on with them, what might be escaping through their thoughts or whatever they're dealing with. The problem for you is that yes, Milwaukee has grown exponentially in how it operates and how it deals with itself, the kindred who reside here. But there's still one very important thing. If you see something, say something, because if you don't, someone else will, and it will fall on your head. It will become your responsibility because you have interlopers. You have visiting, you're not sure what, whether they're kindred, whether they're ghosts, whether they're spirits. Maybe the blood you had early, maybe it was laced with something. Maybe this whole thing has just been some really bad trip. But either way, if it's not, you are the only provable witness to whatever the fuck that was. And just because you're the only provable witness doesn't mean that someone a block over, someone in one of the high rises out there in the distance, we're not standing in front of their window and filming. The problem with things being done in the dark is that eventually there will be light. Eventually the grass will be cut low enough that all the snakes will show. Eventually someone will say something to someone and it will be an excuse for someone, i.e. you, to be tried before the kangaroo court, to be tried before the judges, or worse, to be hunted by the Anubi themselves. So, even though it doesn't need to be said, even though it doesn't need to be asked, I will anyway. What do?
I'll jog over and approach them cautiously.
What does that entail? Do you draw your gun? Do you find a gun? Do you bring a bat? Do you have a pool cue you have for just such an occasion? What does cautiously look like for Artemis as she's approaching these unknowns?
I put on my brass knuckles. And then proceed to cautiously jog over.
India, allow us to set the scene for you. It was supposed to be anybody. Supposed to be everybody, except for Lyta. Her ghastly visage, her dead state of a being. Well, it should have fucking been dead. Let's just call it what it was. You, as much as it bothers and pains you, the truth of the matter is, Joji was never happier than being himself, doing everything he could to protect something, someone of value. As he pushed you through the space of time and distance and whatever it was that Miri had managed, there was some semblance of the true him, the unvarnished, the whole part of him. As Annabelle gave of herself completely and totally to ensure the opportunity and option, it was the whole of her. It could have been anybody. It should have been anybody. But here you are, God knows where, with Lyta. Skyline is different. The night is cooler. The stars seem to be mocking you from on high. And as she attempts to gather herself and right herself, and you find yourself rising to your feet, because if you're going to die, you're not going to die on your knees. Bounding towards you is a... Artemis, would you be so kind as to describe yourself?
I am a 20-something adult, muscular, curly red hair, dark, kind of like mid-toned, brown eyes, fairly professional looking, being as I'm in uniform.
Sorry about that. It's another coughing fits. It's not fun. So basically what happens is she does not recognize that she's being approached right at the moment. As India gets to her feet, there's obviously on the way the moonlight's hitting her cheeks, it's pretty clear she's crying. Stands up, looks around, and raises her gun, aiming at Lyta. The soft snarl of, you give me one good fucking reason I don't pull this trigger right the fuck now. Why was it you? You? It should have been him. We should have been together still. I don't understand why the fuck I'm stuck with you. With you. Why did he do that? Why? He should have stayed with me. And now I'm stuck here with you, and I don't know where here is. Oh, I want to kill you so bad, but I don't have anybody else. She just kind of puts the safety back on and drops her gun hand, turning away. And then that's when she notices Artemis. Seeing security on the shirt, shit. So, ma'am, we're kind of lost here. I'm sorry. Could you help tell us where we are?
Well, you're in the property of the Pabst Mansion here in Milwaukee.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way we're all the way in Milwaukee. We were just in Shreveport. How the fuck are we in Milwaukee? We gotta get out of here. I'm sorry to have bothered you, ma'am. We should probably go. And she looks to Lyta. Are you coming or not?
The Milwaukee, go where? How? I don't believe there's a chance for us to, ma'am, person, how can we get out of here? I think we should probably speak with the persons in charge so we don't, get treated poorly. And I need new clothes. And is there a chantry or temple or a place to get guns from? Lyta asks those questions as that initial opening for dialogue presents itself, because there is a serious number of questions that most people would have in a situation such as this. To answer some of those questions, because there are quite a few in front of us, Mr. Klein,
Yes, sir.
there are very few places throughout the entirety of the city that have a semblance of that Elysium shine and protection. While the city is, in fact, a military state, while there is no expectation of privacy anywhere in public, there is still the law of the land that on the way to an Elysium and on the way from an Elysium, there is a burden of sanctuary. What this means for the average kindred, if you are on your way to an Elysium, even if it's up until recently it's been illegal for more than 5 kindred to gather at one place at one time, on the way to an Elysium, you are protected. You are in the clear. You can, and often it's one of the few times where you can conduct business in a way that you're sure that the newbie won't kick open the door, not only arrest, hold for questioning, and otherwise interdict good business practices. You won't have the shit kicked out of you, because let's be perfectly honest, they being beaten by the Anubi is a kindness. Most of their subjects, targets, persons living and dead that they're curious about, very rarely make it in front of the judges. Which is saying a lot, because the judges have been in session with one tribunal after another nearly every night. So you can imagine how many living, unliving, and all states in between of individuals go permanently or temporarily bye-bye. Luckily for you, you're smarter than the average bear. And while you very rarely actually stay at Elysium, you make it known. You go out of your way to spread the word that you're on the way there. That way your actions and activities are very seldomly held up. So you were on your way near the Pabst mansion. You weren't actually planning on going because, well, fuck the Toreador. But the parcel sitting in your back seat needed you to be within the protections of the Elysium that is the Pabst mansion. So imagine your surprise as you're trundling down Main, making that left and getting ready to pull up to the condo building directly, is that east? Yeah, east of the mansion. That huge building filled with all of those teeming masses that provides you the same protection, because everyone can clearly see that your vehicle was technically on Elysium's property, which means that your actions and activities could and should slip by the Anubi's attention. So imagine you getting there. You're rolling down the street real slow, and Artemis and two clearly smoke intubated and battle worn kindred are standing there on the sidewalk at the end of the massive lawn that leads to the Pabst mansion.
Recognizing Art and having to generally be in this area, though not necessarily on too strict a time limit, Roger will kind of just slowly roll up his vehicle on the street as he cruises up, comes to a stop, and rolls down his window, just kind of, "Is there some kind of issue?" Hey, I know I'm stunning, but I didn't mean to leave you wordless.
Just figuring how best to respond, sir.
India just kind of turns her head and looks at him, gives him the obvious look up and down. Ain't no problem unless you want it to be a problem, partner.
I'm not looking for trouble. I'm looking to help solve them. So, what exactly? He looks over at Art. Is this club business, or are they not carded?
Trying to figure that out now.
Gotcha. He puts it in park and pops out. Leans over onto the top of the car. So, who are you?
I don't think that's really any of your business unless you're part of the authority here, right,
Oh, good.
India?
He decides, look, I ain't trying to be unfriendly to you. It's been a long fucking night, and there's been a lot of shit that done happened. So, what I'm gonna say is, we don't belong here, we not from here. We got dropped here by accident, and we want to leave. So if you can help us with that, we'd be mighty thankful.
Oh yeah, we knew. He kind of nods over to Artemis. We pretty much knew you weren't around here, types. We know most of our friends in this area, but where are you from? And how exactly did you get here?
It's a long ass story. We probably shouldn't tell it out here in the open like it is. So if you got somewhere safe, we'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it. She might not. Gives her gives Lita again stink eye.
I think the first thing that needs to be established is: do you feel like we're kindred spirits, or do you get the same kind of, I don't know, stranger vibe from me?
She smirks and makes sure that, because usually she does a good job of hiding it, but the past couple times she shifted into her beast shape. She hasn't quite come all the way back, so when she smiles at him, it's very clear there are an extra set of things. And then,
Okay. I think that's good enough. They're club members, Artie.
Alright then, come this way.
He kind of looks back into his car. Just a moment. Give me a second to put something in the trunk, and then I'll join you guys. He says as he kind of waves him off and pulls his car over to an appropriate spot, dropping his parcel off in the trunk, and I guess just kind of trundling after wherever they get off to. Artemis, where are you taking them?
Take him inside. Don't want any passers-by seeing anything they shouldn't.
And therein lies the glaring issue. Because for all of its leaps and bounds, its exponential growth, there's no escaping the fact that Milwaukee very much still is a police state. It very much still is. And while the Anubi are less inclined to randomly snatch people up, they don't have to do so, because people understand the best way to make sure that your ass is not on the line is putting someone else's ass there. It is that kindred's responsibility to reach out to the Primogen. It is that kindred's responsibility to have a mouthpiece or someone to speak for them. It is your responsibility as members in standing of the census of Milwaukee to report them, to bring them to the attention of the Anubi. and the judges. Otherwise, if it gets back, and it always gets back, that you did not, guess who is now in the lurch? So, taking them to Elysium, is your intention to notify your betters? Is your intention to bring them to the attention of someone who can handle it? Is your intention to make sure that everyone knows you did exactly what you're supposed to do? Or are you doing what comes next? Rebelling because you can. Rebelling because you might. Rebelling because you must.
It's a little bit of both. That I don't want to get my ass handed to me, but let's the harm in sticking it to the man just a little bit by inviting these people into the house without proper acknowledgement.
So you are bringing them to somebody that you need to bring them to, or you're not?
I'm not.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Now here's the question. In the midst of that, do either of Roger or Clarianta know that's their MO? Are you along for the ride because that's, just what it is? Or are you assuming or expecting to cover for yourself? Are you attempting in any shape, fashion, or form to make sure that this fat doesn't hit the fire for you personally?
So, specifically in this scenario, and that's a very useful excuse of Roger having to drive over and do his own thing and let them walk before he joins up with them. It gives me that opportunity to see where Artemis is trying to go with them before I actually let the public eye see me walking with them. And at that point, just kind of seeing Artemis not heading in the proper direction, not going to talk to those people that they really need to, and knowing that if nobody does it, then all of us, since we're publicly known to be a crew, all of us are going to get thrown into the fire with the fat. I think Roger would just kind of split off at that point and go find somebody to, hey, we got some newbies. Basically just find an appropriate authority figure. What is Clary up to?
Clary is going to stalk behind these people.
Okay.
Without being seen.
All right. Now, be aware, in Elysium, rolling deep with Obfuscate on is probably not a great idea.
I'm just doing silence.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So you're shadowing them, but not quite literally being invisible.
Right.
All right, so we may have our first roll-up. Does India have Sense the Beast? And most pressingly, if she does have Sense the Beast, is it active? Because here's the situation. As you are moving towards the Pabst mansion, while the other buildings east and west of the mansion, down the long sidewalk pathway to the front of the mansion, are these huge, nearly skyscraping things. The mansion, as large as it is dwarfed. It is effectively a cottage in comparison. The long, extraordinarily green, manicured lawn is a thing of absent fascination for you. Because there's no such thing in Bethany. There's no such thing in Shreveport. Grass is for the cattle. Grass is for, it's not there to look pretty. There's a purpose to it because it's a drain on resources. There's too much water and required maintaining a lawn of this size just to have a lawn of this size. The wild grass grows, but it's not as if it's manicured and trimmed and maintained with a nice, lovely green that it is now. This is insanity. It's nice to look at, but it's still insanity. Can you imagine the water they use to keep this son of a bitch green and the effort it takes to maintain it at that height and razor sharp lines along the path? It's not cropping up through any of the concrete. It's not blowing gently in the wind. It's not as tall as your knee in places and as short as your ankle in others. No, it has a right pretty haircut. It's been properly maintained. And it's green enough that you can tell that it's green even here in the dark. The mansion, again, roughly the equivalent of a shack or hovel in comparison to the buildings east and west of you, as you get closer, is in fact a fairly large stone edifice of luxury. It's not a gray stone. It's not a normal brick. It's imported actual stone. It's not the aggregated stuff, the fall fake that you are accustomed to. Most places are accustomed to having their stone imported in or mined at a local quarry. This is imported dark smoke tinged stone, arranged and built to withstand the test of time. They don't make buildings like this, and they never made buildings like this in Bethany or Shreveport. This is some very nearly East Coast affluence on display.
I've got Eyes of the Beast, Feral Whispers, but I do not have Sense the Beast. I'm willing to chalk it up to the fact that she's pretty shaken right now and deeply in mourning, so she's not at her sharpest at the moment.
She's not. Because this mansion, because you know that's what it is. This mansion is effectively walking into Dracula's castle. As small as it is in comparison to the buildings around it, as you get close enough and you're able to look up at the nearly 6 stories of luxury, the 14 steps up to that 3 arched entryway, or the 7 on the side through the servants' entrance there off the carport to the west of the building. The verandas and balconies that abut and drive home how luxurious this place is. You know when someone's walking over your grave. Seldom does that person turn out to be you. But that chill and that hair-raising tingle grows in intensity as you get closer and closer. As Artemis leads you in. There aren't many cars in the driveway or underneath the carport or what have you, but it is clear that there is some activity here, some persons who are mingling and mixing and otherwise here that probably wouldn't be any other time. Now, when you lead them in, Artemis, with there being so few persons and no official Elysium in presence, what do you attempt to do? Do you take them up to the 2nd floor, the 3rd floor? Do you find a little space where there are usually employee only to talk with them, or are you simply just going to square them away in one of the foyers, the parlors, or are you gonna just dump them aside and
I will take them to an employee back room.
completely off the beaten path? Nice. hide them away, keep anyone from noticing that they're there, because if anyone knows that they're there, well, you know what happens next. Speaking of what happens next, Roger, you move counterwise to Artemis and the visitors from out of town. Whom do you reach out to? Do you reach out to one of the judges? Do you reach out to one of the Anubi? Do you reach out to your Primogen? Though he doesn't actually have that title. But Papu Heron is actually a fairly well-respected member. Now, as far as the Primogen go, there are several you might have the opportunity of calling on, considering that you are considered a Cato. There is the Ventru Aaron Hamilton, who is known for assisting those who can't assist themselves. There's Millicent LaRue Black, who is one of the vintners of Milwaukee. There's the two Toreador Primogen, Lucina and Max Devereaux. There was Antonio Calabalarci, who was the Primogen for the Tremere, but they, well, are problematic. There's always a higher cost than you expect dealing with them. But there's also the Regent, Tessa Green. While not respected as a Primogen, she also operates in a similar vein if you can reach out to her. There was Parovich up until recently, but he seems to be disappeared, not present. There's what amounts to the Gangrel Primogen, Charlie Walker, but they, again, are fairly... They're more anarch-leaning than any person has a right to be and still survive. You're not sure how they're pulling it off or what dirt they have on someone notable to keep themselves from being on, the chopping block. But they've managed to escape partially due to their association with Max Devereaux, Aaron Hamilton, and Millicent LaRue Black. There's also their shadow, their associate member, Amalia Milner. She clearly has ties to the Hakata, though no one ever holds her to it. But you're sure that that's one of the reasons why they haven't been done in. Because the Hakata are part of the Brewing and Vintner League here in Milwaukee. In fact, they own the greatest portion of the network of brewers that make the brew. They've stolen it effectively from the Tremere. There's not just blood wine that's on offering. Millie LaRue Black is one of the primary brewers who created the brew, a ale and pilsner and doppelbock that provide a semblance of sustenance to kindred. You don't have to always hunt. You don't always have to pay an arm and a leg to the Tremere. You can, if you're respectful, if you're kind, and if you're willing, you can go to the LaRue Black Brewery and get some of the brew. Or do you go to the judges? Now, the judges are technically a step above the Anubi, a step above the Primogen, but there's Anastasia and there's Arjun, as well as Chris Decker himself. And the judges can occasionally be fled to for lenience. We're not going to talk about the Anubi, the secret police, who patrol, harass, harangue, and oftentimes act as not just jury and peacekeepers. They very much tend to be executioners, especially Thomas and Julia, though Hroth isn't very much farther off.
Well, these are two fresh in the bucket fish who I don't even know who they've got ties to, what blood pumps through their or doesn't pump through their veins. So I wouldn't be able to choose appropriately a Primogen or a representative based off of known clans to try and give them a better time of it. But knowing that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what your description here, Millie is, from my understanding and from what I'm putting together, with her dominance over the brew and being one of the key members of this thing that is slowly but surely, not even slowly, but surely becoming an almost necessary vice or quality of life element for kindred here in the city. Acquainting them with her and going to her, meaning showing that I see her as an authority figure, might get us and get them off on a good foot. Although that depends if she's even here.
It might. But luckily for you, would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your charisma plus contacts?
Absolutely.
Standard DC.
Alright. Okay. So that'll be 6 for me with charisma plus contacts. Let me go to fate rolling here. Roll 6. You said we're at 1 hunger. Current DC is going to be 3. This is going to be for Roger Klein. Boop. Okay.
Oh, you got 5 successes. That means you missed it by 3.
Oh, damn, what a shame. Yeah, standard DC for this campaign is 6, guys. We're in hardcore mode.
Oh yeah, we play it to the hill. We are so far above and beyond what's expected. It is going to knock your socks off. No, yeah, all jokes aside. All jokes aside, you know that Millie isn't in presence. You know that she's not there, but you know that that's their best chance. That's your best chance for lenience and understanding. So as you take a moment and utilize your technological means through a friend of a friend of a friend, you get the word out there that you need Millie to meet you at the Pabst Mansion. You don't put details, say for what, but you are sure as you stand that the imperative nature of your request is communicated. It is literally your best option, your best hope. Because while you never reach the premonition directly using cell phones and phone trees and text services and messenger services, you know in your heart of hearts that the message has been communicated. So you slip your device away and you make your way back in. You're looking for Artemis and the 2 new kindred. And as you do that and making your way in right behind them, with them, there are several members you can feel in presence. Several notable persons floating somewhere inside the mansion. You're not sure how you know. You never care as to how you know. You just know what you know. And as you follow behind India and Lyta and Artemis, you realize that you're going in the antithetical direction to where those notable persons, those flickering flames of presence and authority and status and safety are. As you pass through the second door into the employee area and the backstage area of the Pabst Mansion, off the beaten path, what is it that you do? What is it that you say, if anything?
Was this for Clary?
Yes.
Okay.
I am just watching. I'm lurking well behind them, and I'm not saying anything. I am just watching where they go, and when they get to the room, I will I'll wait outside and just kind of listen.
You know, there's always place in a situation for somebody who watches, but there's never much acclaim or esteem for the watcher.
9. Du hast mich. So as you settle in, Artemis, you lead them safely through the building into the employee area. It's you, India, and Lyta. Somewhere along the way, you lost your good buddy, your pal, your chum, your coterie mate, Roger. However, you have managed to get them backstage passes. You are sure that no one outside of the other security officer in residence would even consider being back here or coming back here. And you know that they're fairly lazy. They're up on the 3rd floor in the library with their feet back and listening to DJ Barth right now. They're a conspiracy theorist at heart, and so DJ Barth's late night house mixes and social news is their drug of choice. So you know you're going to have a modicum of privacy with these guests and interlopers to the city. Artemis.
Oh, she unmuted?
Nope. Alright then, so why don't you keep catching me up on what you're doing over here in this side of the US.
Actually, I'd rather not have to repeat it more than once. Where your little friend go?
Oh, he disappears sometimes. He should be right over in a minute.
Like I said, I'd rather not have to repeat it multiple times. It's best to tell the story one time, seeing as how it's going to be hard for me to get through it.
Very well. If you'd prefer, we could wait for him to arrive.
Around that time, do I knock upon the door?
And like the devil spoken of, he shall appear.
Roger just kind of comes in, closes the door behind, and is like, you know, they say that you really shouldn't go to a secondary location with someone that you don't know.
In fact, I almost died tonight. I don't really care.
Yeah, that's not a consideration for India. I'm sure that anyone tried to kill her, she'd take them out. I don't have my gun, but she has hers.
And like that, we know a little bit more about you. So anyways, what are you doing on this side of the Americas?
Well, long story short.
Yeah, what are you doing here? Says
great.
Voice you did.
Holy shit!
Steps out behind Roger.
Clara, you gotta stop doing that.
Oh, come on, you know it's fun.
We've
Cool
had
trick.
talks about this.
I mean, we talk about a lot of things.
You only do it to me, though, obviously, as Artemis just called it a cool trick and not an absolute trauma-inducing event. Either way, better things to talk about. Hi, my name is, he thinks for a moment, Marcus. Pleasure to meet you. How'd you get here? What are you doing here? What's your names? Favorite flower?
India just kind of looks at Roger for Marcus for a minute, like real close squint, sort of. Like, do I believe that that's his name? Hold on, let me see if I got something to figure it out.
No, the way that he was going about it, and specifically with the pause, he was making very sure that, like, it's gotten across, this isn't my real name, but you should call me this.
Okay, yeah, well, she's a little slow on the uptake tonight after all the trauma, but just kind of looks at him, okay, that's what you want. Long story, somewhat shorter. We were having issues with the Tremere over by where we're at, and they started doing some underhanded sneaky shit. Blew up a friend of ours, a coterie mate, burned down some buildings that were important to us. And when we attempted to right what they were doing wrong, we got pulled into some sort of magic fucking portal, some shit in Shreveport at the top of a hotel that we were attempting to blow up at the time. And we lost 2 of our members. They didn't make it through. And we found ourselves
Blowing
here.
up a hotel?
Wait, you
Well,
got
I
stuck on the
wouldn't-
blowing up a hotel part, not the I got shunted through a magical portal part?
Yeah. Because that wasn't their doing. Apparently, right? You guys didn't do the portal? You did the blowing up? Did you blow up a portal into Milwaukee?
Well, our patron opened the portal through me into the hotel. Came through to attempt to help us. They were followed by somebody we had met once or twice before. The Calabalasha, I believe his name is. He followed her through. Attempted to fight her in the hotel while we already had the prince of the Tremere in the hotel with us, and we were trying to escape without ending our own lives and just take down the hotel. Didn't work out that way. We were shunted through the mirror. We lost 2 of our number, and we are here.
Okay, so just to be clear, you blew up a Tremere prince and Calabalarshi.
And had that short Zach ass. I know he was blowing things up when we left, and we were attempting to get everybody through, but it didn't happen that way, and I assume, since my love, just kind of pauses for a minute, is good at what he did, that it went off after we made it through the mirror, trapping him and our other there.
Okay. He just kind of takes his hand and goes through his hair once, scratches the back of his head. Maybe don't tell officials that you attempted to murder a prince.
Did you murder him?
I think the implication is that there was a big boom.
Can't say for sure. We weren't there when it happened, so we can't say that we did, in fact, murder him. He might still be alive, for all we know. We hope not, but we're not going to say that.
Yeah, just, for your safety, just don't tell people you tried to blow up a prince.
Yeah, that's not really the smartest thing to say. Unless, are you anarchs?
No, we ain't. But the camp and our side of the woods and our neck of the woods were doing uncanny-like bullshit. They needed to be checked.
To be fair, that's the same in most cities, but regardless of the reasons for why you did it, if it ever gets to a prince that you tried to kill a prince, it kind of changes how they view you, and how they view you determines whether or not you live or die. So then, names.
Say that like we plan on being here for long. I don't want to stay here. I only wanted to know where the fuck we were, so I knew how to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, though. You're in the city now, which means we've got to go through the proper processes of letting people know you're in the city now.
Well, you really think they finna let us leave after they find out we here? Instead of not
Potentially.
knowing we here in the first place and getting the fuck out?
This is the thing. If you get caught trying to leave the city, and no one knew you were in the city, you're guaranteed to die. If you showed up here by means of your not of your own control, let them know that you're here, then try to leave the city, you're not gonna die. Maybe. Hopefully.
Unless you tell him you assassinated a prince, then you're
Unless
gonna
you
die.
tell him that unless you tell whoever it is we bring around
Wait,
that
did
you tried to blow up a
say
place.
Also killed Calabalarshi?
Potentially, who knows? I hope so.
That guy's an asshole.
So then,
India looks towards Lita, just kind of like with a brow raise, like, what do we do now?
If we can leave before anyone knows, then no one has to die.
plugs. I mean, but people already know.
Is there a radar, a system Milwaukee has to watch for strangers?
No, but points to himself, Clary, and Artemis. I would charitably call us people.
You can tell them we left.
Yeah. But that's saying that we saw you, and if we saw you and we didn't bring you or detain you to someone who is someone that you were supposed to talk to for being in the city, we're gonna suffer the consequences of that.
So you're already suffering consequences. You didn't
Not
bring us to
quite.
anyone. We're in an office.
Yes, you're being detained.
You in what army?
That one, he points over to Artemis.
India will take her.
Cool. Look, I'm not trying to bring this to fists or anything. It doesn't need to be a conflict. It's just a matter of bureaucracy. If you remain here with us for a little bit of time, I've already got somebody coming that we can talk to. And then, when everything is straightened out, you can get back to your city, maybe even with a little bit of help from us, since we know that your situation is kind of turbulent. And I am all for helping out those who are out of sorts.
So you ratted us out.
No, I wouldn't call it ratting us out. That's such a what's the word? A negative term for it. It implies bad things. I'm only got the best of intentions for you. So, it's not ratting you out. I'm just informing the proper people.
You know that whole hospitality thing, domain, you're supposed to, we're helping. Or
Yeah.
he's helping.
We understand that you didn't want to be here, but you're here now. And things are a little shaky, so any kind of further shaking up can lead to things being broken. And I don't want anything to be broken.
I could think of a few things to break.
Yeah, but you just, yeah.
Please
Regardless.
don't. I need my job to pay taxes.
Yeah. So it's better for everybody involved if you guys hang out for a little bit.
We don't have taxes in Bethany.
What?
That's
How does that work?
great.
But there's only federal tax if you don't have a federal job. If you're not on record anywhere, you don't have to pay taxes. We don't have city, state, or county taxes because we sit between two counties. We sit between two states. We're part of both and neither.
We should move.
tell me.
I mean, hey. It's nice to know that there is not exactly the same kind of trials elsewhere.
Let's leave. Well, I can make sure you're set up for life. I am very wealthy. And if I get back to my wealth, I can make sure you all are set up for life. Not a normal human lifetime. But as long as I exist, you will be taken care of if you help us leave now.
He just kind of looks over to Artemis for a cue, one way or the other.
I just kind of nod, like, all right.
Okay, but I've already called somebody here, somebody pretty big, who could be very helpful to you.
Wait, who'd you call?
I called for Millie.
Oh, good one. She's cool.
I don't know if she herself will show up, but
While you're here, you should really try the brew.
No, thank you. I don't have the ability to eat or drink anything.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't know, but I don't either. But it's great.
it is something you'll find palatable. But he kind of claps his hands together. Artie, are you sure you want to take him out of here before we go through the proper process?
You'll get in trouble. I ain't part of the clan. And as much as I'll feel bad for you getting in trouble, I don't have many connections up here.
Artemis, I'm not part of any clan. I'm not going to hold that against you because you're forgetful sometimes, but I'm Kadif.
You don't act like you're Kata.
Yeah, people tell me that.
Kata
Anyway.
would have been on our side. Kata are largely anarchs. So what are you, a double agent trying to set your friends up?
No, I'm trying to make sure that I don't die. The best way to do that is to make sure that the people above me are happy.
If you come with us, you won't die. If you help us, you won't die.
That's a very convincing argument. The only thing is that optimism is the only thing fueling it.
That's not true. I'm telling you. I can make sure you're safe, well taken care of. No one that can outfight India.
He just... Go on, Clary.
I'm sorry, but didn't you just blow up a building? I don't know if that's safe.
The building's in Shreveport. We're in Bethany. It's about an hour away from where we're going.
Look,
I don't know that that's very convincing.
I want to be as friendly about this as possible because I want us to work together. I want you to be satisfied with this situation, and I want us to be as well. The problem is, don't be stubborn. And I know you said that you can keep us safe and yada yada and you can set us up, but you already told us that you lost 2 of your own coterie members. You don't sound like the kind of people that can keep anyone safe. So why don't you let us keep you safe?
That makes India jump to her feet. And a full-blown snarl rolls from her lips. Her eyes shift gold. How dare you? I loved him. I had no choice.
And I'm not saying that you chose. I'm just saying that you couldn't keep them safe.
I didn't like them. I want to like you.
Look. That's not exactly what I wanted to hear. How about this? He gestures over to India. I'll not refer to your former friends anymore. And in exchange,
Her former friends.
he just says, kind of like ignoring the probably gonna get themselves punched talk, you don't do anything crazy. Sound like a deal?
The crazy thing would be trusting someone who turned us into this.
The crazier thing...
What are they, police?
No, they're not police, they're friends. And the crazier thing, he looks back over to Lyta, in this scenario, to me, would be trusting somebody who apparently did not like and could not keep. He looks back over to India. I'll keep that to myself, as promised. But, he looks back over to Lyta. Don't promise to be friends if you're not a real friend to those that, well, thought you were, I guess.
Real
I don't know.
Friends to those who are
India,
friends to me.
India, was she a part of your group?
Yes.
Whoa, hey, don't be answering for India. You're
Me
India.
and me and India went to high school together. I didn't really care for the other two.
Awesome. So it's like friend of a friend type deal.
Yes.
Good to know. I like to keep all of my friends together, and I don't have friends of friends. I just have friends.
It is what it is. You done call whoever the fuck you gonna call. I don't have nowhere else to be than and if I die, I die. I don't care anymore. So,
Hey,
I
wouldn't
India.
be going through all of this if I intended for you to die. Don't worry, I'll represent you.
India, we need you to care. We need to get back. I need to get back.
And you will after this.
That sounds like a trap.
You're telling India she needs to care when you don't care about people that...
We're not going to talk about them, as I promised. Instead, we're just going to acknowledge this is the situation as it is. You will be seeing a representative of the state. And then after that, after the results of that, if you are allowed, you can leave. If they request for you to do something, we'll handle that. And he gestures over to his other two companions. We'll help you handle that, because I do feel indebted for being the one to call them upon you.
Do you know?
Yeah, of course I do.
So the knock it. So there's a knock.
Hello? He says, just opening the door after there's no response.
Standing outside the door is a very tall, very clearly physically fit Asian male. He's well dressed. He has a grayish blue eye color. Well coiffed. You'd almost believe that he had his brows done, but he doesn't. And he has shoulder length, dark hair. You can't really say that it's black, but saying that it's anything but black is too close to a lie.
Alright. Is this a politically significant figure?
For those in the know, 100%. Standing before you, dressed as if he's going to strut down some runway, is Raiden Uchida. He is the right-hand man of Primogen Aaron Hamilton.
Recognizing him, he'll step aside. Come on in. It's very nice of you guys to make such swift time, and I apologize for the late call.
Wait, is that... Out of character. Is that who you were expecting?
No, not at all.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
We've had a problem. Please try again.
You have
Yes.
a problem. Thanks.
Yes, that is not who you're expecting. It is a problem. And you're going to try until you get it right, hopefully. Here's the situation. This is a problematic moment for those not in the know. Because for all of his showmanship and welcome and hospitality, there's clearly some small pause as he opened the door and this gentleman was standing there. That was aware of those little small usual tells, and most people would glimpse them. The gentleman who walks in very much looks as if they're multi-thousandaire, a model of some repute. And for India is nominally experienced with weaponry. No way that he's not packing heavy. Thank you for calling the Primogen. They are unfortunately unavailable. However, Primogen Hamilton will be along shortly. Need to make sure this is not some other situation with the growing dissent and new spreading of what happened in this area.
Oh, absolutely, and I completely understand. I expected a representative to be sent instead, so this is well within my, besides the fact that it's from a different Primogen, well within my expectations.
Yes, Millie LaRue Black is a close personal friend of Primogen Hamilton. And where one dallies, the other supports. So in this case, as Miss LaRue Black is otherwise engaged, Primogen Hamilton is on their way.
Wonderful.
Is that a concern?
Not to me, merely a surprise is all.
Nation, all of you except for you two. Are you the reasons for Primogen Hamilton's need here?
Not me.
The two, he kind of gestures over to her. Yeah. There are new fish swimming in the pond.
I see. And your name's Madam?
India,
Lyta Cambridge. I see. Miss Love, Miss Cambridge. Are you aware as to your clan? Clearly Nosferatu, Miss Cambridge, and yours, Miss Love?
Gangrel.
Excellent. I will relay this information to the Primogen. He will be with you shortly. Is there any concern for your safety?
The fact that we don't want to be here and we didn't intend to be here.
So that you aren't running, fleeing, seeking sanctuary from?
No, we were shunted here through magical fucking means. Fucking Khmer. But we are here now and wish to leave.
I'll relay this information to the Primogen. I'll be with you shortly.
All right.
He steps out. Those of you in the know with either politics or streetwise, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus politics or streetwise with the DC standard?
Okay. Ooh. Yeah.
um, How many streetwise are you supposed to have for this to work?
Me?
No, not me.
You said how many?
Any?
All right. Any?
Any.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
Ooh, ow.
All right. So, and you know that sinking suspicion when you're at school and everything's going well, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and yet there's this sinking suspicion somewhere in the butterflies in your stomach. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and then there's this feeling of spiders climbing across the lower mid portion of your back. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and yet there's this niggling concern at the back of your mind, like the hand of fate on your shoulders, refusing to let go, guiding you down a path that you would prefer never to see. You know that feeling, don't you, Roger? Because that's the feeling you're having now. The niggling concern that refuses to let you go. You're doing the right thing. You know you're doing the right thing, aren't you? You're making sure that you're in the clear, that your coterie isn't connected with ne'er-do-wells, a gang girl, and a clearly Nosferatu person from outside of the city. You're doing the right thing. You reached out to Miss LaRue Black. And yet, what could it possibly be? And then it slots into place. It settles and forms that picture because you've moved mentally directly in the right line of path, that conglomeration of junk and bent metal and paper and plastic and all of this, you move so that it lines up perfectly, presenting the image of what it is. He mentioned with everything that was happening in the area. He mentioned and focused on whether they were fleeing someone, whether they were a threat or being harassed. And looking at the two of them, the soot, the scars, the mending flesh, there's no way that anyone in their right mind would believe that they were safe individuals, either because someone is looking for them or they were engaged in something. There's no way that anyone in the semblance of a right mind would not consider someone wearing roughly $5,000 worth of finery, ruined though it is, would think that's a safe individual to be around. There's no one with a political mind that would accept, oh no, we're just trying to get the hell out of here from such an individual. And therein lies the other shoe. What happened in the area that a security-minded forward scout would come instead of a primogen to an Elysium, where the honored tradition of safety and protection protects all who actually are on the way here and from here.
Hey, Artemis, do you mind looking after them for a moment? I've got to go ask some questions.
Sure thing.
Who would know what's happening at or near an Elysium except for someone who works there?
You're so right. Hey, Artemis, before I step out and go bother the rest of everybody, do you know of anything crazy going bump in the night tonight?
I saw something, but you know my contract's only for the surrounding property.
Well, yeah, but like, come on, you could have heard something. Just rattle your brain a little bit. Is there anything that you might have overheard? Because there's no reason why that guy would be coming here when the traditions are still in play. No one's that paranoid unless they have a reason to be paranoid.
Could be somebody setting someone else up. And we're not involved, just happen to be happenstance.
Okay. Do you know who I might be able to go and bother here to ask around?
Now, out of character, would I have seen anything that would color my knowledge one way or the other?
The mention of the Tremere fighting with a Nosferatu in front of an Elysium. The sky cracking open as if a window was being shattered. Two kindreds spit across the country and materializing as if they were beamed down from the Starship Enterprise. Outside of that, no, not really. It's been a nice Tuesday. Weather's nice. If a little stormy earlier when Caliber Larceny was hurling lightning up and down the street in front of an Elysium. Other than that, no.
Alright, so I turn to Roger, and, well, I did see some of our, I don't know if you'd call them friends, fighting across the street.
Who? Specifically? Do you have names here, or?
I saw a fight across a street. I couldn't tell exactly who they were, but I know there weren't any friends of ours.
Okay. Shit. You two might be getting scapegoated for something. Because we're going through all of the usual proper practices here, and this does not feel like a proper situation.
Did you miss the portion where I said we watched Caliber Larceny and the person they were chasing step through from your side of the portal into the hotel on our side of the portal, which is how we got here. So obviously they're fucking talking about Caliber Larceny.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a hard time completely believing your story, but the way he was acting is kind of sold it to me that something is fucked up. Okay.
Hey, we were liars. We don't lie.
You told me that you teleported across the country and that you ran into Caliber Larceny and apparently bombed Caliber Larceny unintentionally.
And the only thing that we have saying you're not a liar is you literally saying you're not a liar. We don't know you.
Okay, how about this?
Look,
With the proof of combat all over us, we don't know where we are. Artemis gets it. Helping someone that's willing to help you. You two are really sus.
Look,
And
Artemis.
The
Gun. Shoot them. That's right. Let's take them down.
No, she pulls out the card, the gold casino card, from the inner pocket of her dress, because literally she has nothing on her but her gun and that.
Yeah.
And so she's like, pulls out the card and shows it to him with the name of the hotel on it.
Okay. Alright. Out of character. I don't think Artemis has explicitly told us that she saw you guys a port from somewhere, and that's the reason why I've been operating off of this. Back in character. Okay, well, we'll... Fine, your story's right, we'll work off that. The only problem is that I'm not entirely sure we're going to be able to sell them on it. But I'm not entirely sure. Look,
Tell them we're your cousins.
What?
Family has to count for something more than friends, right? So that would make us either need to be your sire, your child, or your living family relations. Tell them we're your cousins.
And how does that help your situation in convincing the gestures to the outside world? The Primogen.
Well, golly, we're just a bunch of dumb cousins of his. It's clearly that you're not the brightest. So they believe it.
Okay, I kind of want to leave this one to the wolves, he says to Artemis. I'm not entirely sure why you're so hostile with me, but
I'm not being hostile. It is clear Artemis was going to help us. You stopped Artemis from helping us. So I thought, and I assume, that you're actually more hostile than you intend to be.
You know what? I'm all for helping people that want to be helped. If you don't want to be helped by me, then we can go with Artemis's plan and we can get out of here.
You're the only guy around, so you gotta be good for something. We don't have bags for you to carry, so the least you can do is help us.
Whoa.
Oh my god, I love this. Okay, how about this? Artemis, where do you think we can bring them that might be, I don't know, less likely to get us murdered for trying to smuggle people out of the city who are, and he gestures towards the door, now known to the higher-ups as suspicious?
Well, we're not that suspicious. He thinks I'm Nosferatu.
Are you not Nosferatu?
No. God, I'm not that hideous. I'm just a little dead. Plus, Nosferatu are poor. I'm not poor.
What? Okay.
Interesting.
That's not... Okay.
Anyways, Artemis, do you have like a safe house or something? No.
Let me think for a second here.
Because the way I see it, if we are intending on getting them out of the city, if we're going to let momentary paranoia overwrite our situation here, we're going to have to make damn sure that they get out with zero issues.
Well, we'd have zero issues if you didn't call on us.
Okay, you were...
For fuck's sake, get over it. It's done.
It is.
You want help or do you want not help? Because right now you're in the not help file.
You all don't like honesty. I'm sorry. I understand.
I don't know what the situation here is, but
okay, the
you mean to
situation
tell
is...
me we can't just get in the car and get the fuck out of here and get on the highway? What's keeping us?
You can certainly try. No, you absolutely certainly can try.
Well, it sounds like that's not a good idea, so I'd like to know why it's not a good idea. I am open to knowing why it's not a good idea.
Because the city is on high alert right now and has been in something of a bloody conflict here recently.
Because he ratted us out, India. That's why we can't get in the car anymore.
Can we just leave this one outside, actually?
Yeah.
Child, you know better. We're trying to be hospitable, and you're making our poor guests feel unwelcome.
Me? Making them feel unwelcome?
Yes, very much so. I'm feeling the animosity rolling off of you.
I'm gonna step outside. I'm gonna step outside before I say something that hurts somebody. And not me, before that happens.
You already have. It's okay. We forgive you. Sit, come, stay. No, we can be friends.
We 100% cannot. I have tried my best with you. And to be perfectly honest, I don't care if you're Nosferatu or not. Your presence is disgusting me right now. Goodbye. And he just kind of steps out the door.
The number for a good therapist. They're not alive anymore, but they could help you with that.
I'm sure you're the reason they're dead.
No, I tried. I couldn't get to my gun. India's the one that let them die.
Are you trying to get yourself killed? Because, like, I feel like you are.
You know what,
No.
actually? How about this? He kind of pulls Clariantha out of the room. I'm gonna have a talk with Clariantha real quick. Artemis, if you want to come out here as well, and I can discuss something with you, and then we can move on from there.
No, it's fine. We're all friends. You can talk. You can discuss here.
No. Don't worry. It's a coterie thing.
We really
You
shouldn't be
understand.
keeping secrets. We really shouldn't be keeping secrets from each other. That's how trouble starts.
I am
Oh,
100%.
no, shut up.
Artemis,
We're
please step outside with me real quick.
I look at India and I'm like, you want me to piss her off? You idiot.
I'm not saying to piss India off. He says, just kind of gesturing. I'm just going to have a conversation with you and Clariantha about our next steps.
India's
No, it's
well and just done. She sat herself in a chair, and what comes will come.
Yeah. India's like, what the fuck? It has
I think
gone
they're
from.
plotting against us. India, I think they're plotting against us. I think we should get a car and leave.
What's the people that live here say that's not a good idea? I'd be inclined to believe them, but where are we going to get a car and who's driving?
Well, he has a car. I'm sure you can pick his pocket. He's kind of your type. Brunette, young looking. You can be nice to him and get the keys, and then we can drive out of here together. We don't have to put up with whatever it is that they're plotting against us.
See, I like these two. These two are cool.
On the other side of the door, Artemis or Roger just goes to those two. So we're totally setting up Lyta to be the fall guy for this and making sure that India gets off without any problems, right?
Yeah. Because I don't know why she thinks we should care about what she thinks, because she just fucking showed up and is being a bitch for no reason.
Yeah, I just gotta convince India to abandon her buddy to whatever fate awaits her.
She doesn't seem real, like she cares that much right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Artemis, what are your thoughts?
I agreed to come out here. You know it's against policy to leave guests alone.
Yes, and at this point, I really could not give a shit. I'm trying to figure out how we keep our skins intact while also keeping the one of them who I still care to keep intact. Look, if you have a thought of how you're pretty good at making plans and shit, do you have a plan? If not, I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing.
Honestly, my whole plan subsisted of having them stay the night, shuttling them off the next night, and either following them or continuing on my happy life.
Okay, so you're 100% alright with whatever happens so long as they remain just detained for the night.
Yeah, figure it out tomorrow night.
Alright, cool. Well, team meeting over, break, or whatever. He opens the door back up and walks in. Okay, sorry about that. Chat's over. How are we doing? Anything that we need to know about that might help the situation? That may have just come up in the last few minutes while you've been sitting alone?
just for the longest time recently, she wasn't looking into mirrors, but she has been since they have arrived looking for mirrors to see if it feels the same for her anymore, or whether she can feel mirrory at all, or whether that attachment is gone. So that's what she's been doing in the past couple minutes while they're in this little room. She's been looking for a mirror to look into.
Are there any mirrors in the room?
Imagine there would be some being in employee space.
Yeah. Like
no, those are held in the the salon where the toreadors normally gather, where the Primogen Lucina and her, for the former Primogen, typically hold court. And by hold court, they are the least politically powerful contingent, yet they are the most socially powerful contingent. The fucking toreador in Milwaukee pull so many strings of the other coteries, the other clans, and the other faiths even, that pretty much whatever they want will end up in their hands eventually. It just depends on whose life, legacy, and faith they have to ruin to get it. They are the epitome of the political Regina Georges who were never undone by the new girl. They are the Heathers, they are the Plastics, they are, a force to be reckoned with. Even more so than the lucrative, powerful venture. They are, inevitable. Why that is relevant is Imogen Hamilton is one of the venture, just like Imogen LaRue Black. However, unlike Imogen LaRue Black, there is a reputation that Imogen Hamilton has, or had, or you're not sure. Things are constantly shifting, changing, and becoming amorphous. And so every rumor isn't always true, but every truth will have several accompanying rumors. So as you all make your way back in, you can hear the resounding click-clack of well-heeled boots or shoes making their way down the hall towards you all. Again, this is a space where no one usually comes. None of the forward-facing members of Kindred Society ever really come back to the employee area. Partially because of the toreador, partially because, it's just the employees. No one wants their dirt on them. Yeah, nearly all of the employees are in fact kindred, but still, being employees makes you all secondary citizens at best, which makes the caitiff amongst you, i.e. Mr. Klein, even less so. The social dynamics at play in Milwaukee, even though it is in fact a police state, are still very much case system. They still are a classist enterprise. And as much as Decker, before becoming prince and after becoming prince, was viewed as a local hero, someone who was willing to bleed and die for the city, he is definitely a kindred of his time. Certain class of kindred, which while not above the law, can purchase through status leniency of the law. And then there are those who can't. The caitiff, the Bruja, the Malkavian. the outsiders, the outlanders, those who their lifeblood helps the city maintain itself. That's as far as it goes. Far as they can ever reach. Even with a primogen of nearly every clan, you very intimately are aware there is no primogen for the Cato. You very intimately know there's no primogen for the Bruja. You very intimately know that even as one of the judges is a Malkavian, there is no primogen for the Malkavian. It's a sad thing realizing that you're doing everything right. Everything right. And you know that it is still a coin toss as to the outcome. Well connected as Papuheran is, it is still a coin toss for you on a nightly basis. It's the reason why you utilize the Elysian system to protect yourself. Very uncomfortable knowing that while you are charged with protecting the property, putting your life on the line for the property, the physical building that houses the Elysium, if you were caught in the street on a night where the Anubi are riled up, there's very little chance that there would be a tomorrow night for you. In Clariantha, there is no Malkavian primogen. There is no social protections you have outside of your coterie and your ability to remain quiet, your ability to remain unseen, your ability to be forgotten between moments. If not for that, your immortality is the complete antithesis of a promised thing.
Yeah.
As those footfalls, like a metronome, come forward. There's several other issues that pop into mind. Not many are foolish enough to say it out loud, but there is very much a rumor that Primogen Hamilton has and is the support for Baron Newton. Because while many kindred were wiped out the night of his rebellion, when he declared himself as Baron, Baron Newton is still out there in the night. Occasionally you'll see a installation thrown up on some wall, some huge graffiti piece saying Newton was right. As skilled as the Anubi are, there's no way that Baron Newton has escaped their judgment without some inside assistance. And many people believe that he is in fact that inside assistance. The reason why his primary goal, his head of security, Raiden, is so diligent in protecting him. He has enemies inside the Primogen, inside the Anubi. Hell, just the average kindred who lost friends, allies, children that night when Baron Newton declared himself, make it so that Primogen Hamilton, for all of his connections, for all of his alliances, for all of his money, so as all those things come tumbling forward, there's a knock at the door.
All right, people. Showtime. Says as he opens the door and flips the coin.
Damn shame that Prince Hamilton is in fact that handsome. Not that you lean that direction, Roger. Not that, there's anything even remotely romantic about him, but he has that old 1970s, early 80s strong jawline. His got the overly wide lips that are full enough that makes you kind of want to kiss them, or at least know that they're as soft as they look. And he's got those dark blue eyes that almost look black depending on which light he's standing in, and that shoulder length hair that falls perfectly cascading. Son of a bitch, is he using is he having star power? Is he secretly a toreador? What the fuck?
Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe it's Vitae powered.
We have a situation. Can I come in?
Absolutely. He steps back and gestures for the Primogen to answer.
Does anyone have indomitable will?
No.
Is anyone a stubborn bastard? Does anyone have, and obversely, does anyone have auspics presently in use?
No.
Yay! So no one's overly affected, but also no one is overly resistant. He is a charming son of a bitch. You are standing in the room with the great Milwaukee Hope. You're standing face to face with someone who actually cares. Si se puede. You're standing with the next potential prince. You're standing in the room with the very definition of greatness, but is, humble and calling yourself simply okay.
Wow.
It's
Ladies.
always a pleasure to meet you.
Have we met before? I'm Aaron. My friends call me Aaron. I'm Primogen Hamilton. How are we doing? I understand that you guys have had no small amount of dilemmas presently here in the area. There's no need to worry. There is a contingent of the Anubi who are on their way to verify what became of Regent Calabalarshi. So that I can properly speak for you all and make sure that you all are as safe as we can help you to be, did either of you engage with, have anything to do with the reports of Regent Calabalarshi's absence?
Wait, who you
I need to know. Either of you all, not just our guests. Hi again. I'm Regent Hamilton. Friends call me Aaron. How we doing?
Can I be your friend?
Of course.
Can I call you
That's-
Aaron?
Yes, I would be honored.
All right.
It's
so no,
important.
No, I didn't have anything to do with it. But hi.
Okay. All right. Hello. It's a very good thing that you didn't. Reports are coming in from all over the city. The strange storms had their way with our city. There are reports coming in that there was feedback of a sort having to do with the assassination attempt targeting Regent Calabalarshi. Many say that this Elysium was the center of the storm, and that whatever caused whatever happened to Regent Calabalarshi was here. So, thank you, Roger, for the call. And, however, again, there's no reason to fear or worry, but the Anubi are on their way to find out what happened. And while I can't condone their usual methodology, I can attest that they will always find a reason, the source of any issues. So before they get here, before they arrive and begin their enhanced interviewing techniques, is there anything that you can tell me that I can use to help you all remain free and clear and unmolested by the Anubi?
Just kind of momentarily stunned by the secret police are coming. Give me a reason not to give you to them. India, you're saying
do I look like I'd have the kind of magic to do whatever the fuck this is?
Kinda. I mean, you just look like a person. Everybody looks like a person.
Well, ma'am, and forgive me for saying this, you look absolutely ravishingly magical. You look as if you stared into the darkness and made it blink. You and your friend here, the hideous Nosferatu. I'm not. No. I don't mean anything by that, but your present deathly pallor and your inability to blend in is a clear masquerade breach, and I'm sure that the Anubi would like to speak with you about that. But that's secondary to why I'm here. You too look as if you've been through the eye of a tornado that dropped you into a far distant land, i.e., you look like Dorothy Gale. So yes, you all look as if you had something to do with the storms raging through the city. You all look as if you might have been loosely responsible for all of the mirrors shattering all up and down the coastline. You all look like you may have something to do with the assassination attempt of a regent-level Tremere. And this is just from my personal understanding as to how the Anubi respond. It is not innocent until proven guilty. It is guilty until tortured into innocence.
Look at Roger. Oh, lovely.
Or if you all look guilty. Whatever happened to the regent seemed to have originated here at the Pap's mansion. Whatever ripped through our city, most people believe it started here. There are reports that were going out for the last 2 hours.
Well, and he just kind of gives side-eye over to India. If I could put some illumination on their situation and how this came to be, if at any moment there's anything wrong with what I'm saying, India, feel free to interrupt me. But they seem to have been, at least from their explanation to us, the victim of some kind of magical phenomenon. I imagine this is what you're referring to, correct? The whatever happened here. Either way, it transposed them? Teleported? Whatever the hell the exact wording is for it. It dropped them off here and sucked Calabalarshi and some random woman out into Bethany.
Report.
Who is Bethany?
Oh, Bethany, the city. Yeah, it's apparently between two states.
It's an hour from Shreveport.
Yeah, apparently so. Oh, yeah, sucked them into... Was it Shreveport or Bethany that you two were in?
We were in Shreveport at the casino.
There you go. Sucked him out into Shreveport. Now, these two, from what they've expressed, didn't have anything to do with the magical bullshit themselves, but were, as I said, just victims unto the effects. Now, I know Mr. Calabalarshi is quite powerful in the regard of the mystic, and I imagine anybody who he is getting into an all-in-all brawl with and able to survive him is probably of a similar manner. So I'm guessing it was whoever it was he was interacting with at the time. And for some reason, it took two people from one location and stuck two people from another location. I really wish I could give more details, and I really wish I understood the mystical a little bit better, but at least from what we've gathered here, these two were innocent, and I can tell you just about... He gestures to India and holds out his hand. I can tell you just about where he's at right now. Can I have that golden card that you had, India?
Hand it over.
This here is is a card for a hotel that we believe he was relocated to.
You give me that, and I'll stave off the Anubi as best as I can, but you all probably shouldn't be here when they arrive. Artemis, I understand that you have associates and friends who are not necessarily always above board. Would you be so kind as to help your friends and these two somewhere safe that I can call on you when I need?
Of course.
Thank you. And I need you to also help an associate of mine. And if you'll give me a moment, I'll introduce you. And he steps out of the door and leans to his left and makes a little motion with his hand and calls someone forward. Stepping forward is a glasses wearing, red-haired, very light complected male. It's clear from how their pale skin is slightly paler along their jawline that they usually sport a beard and a mustache. Everyone, this is a friend and associate of mine, Tony. Tony, this is everyone. This is our Artemis and her associates. They will get you to a safe place until I come for you. And while you all make your way out of here, I would suggest using the side door, and I'll go forestall the Anubi. I know how to reach you all, and I will do so as soon as I'm able. For now, get to safety.
You're pretty.
All right, absolutely, and thank you for your time and your help. He says, handing the card over. All right, I do have a vehicle waiting outside. Artemis, do you have your own?
I would think that she does, but she probably maybe walks to work because it's not too far.
No, I have a car. My mic was just too far away.
Gotcha.
And as you all prepare to rock and ride, as you all prepare to gather and gird your loins, as you all prepare to take flight from the pillar of the idea of safety within the kindred community, as the night suddenly grows darker and the consequence of all of the social interactions you've had thus far, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode. And I will see you all next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
All right, well, we managed to make it out of that mostly alive.
We gotta run.
In the end, we have to run anyways.